Welcome to the SRS podcast, Scoliosis Dialogues. I'm Enrique Mendez from Monterrey, Mexico, and I am very grateful for the opportunity to be host today and to have the honor to meeting and interviewing our traveling fellows in this year here in Barcelona at our annual meeting. And before starting, I would like you to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm David Pauly from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I'm the Senior Traveling Fellow for this year.
Hi, I'm Peter Passias from Durham, North Carolina, and I was one of the traveling fellows.
I'm Chris Hardesty, and I'm in Cleveland, Ohio, and I was a traveling fellow this year.
I'm Lindsay Andras from Children's Hospital Los Angeles, and I was privileged to be a traveling fellow this year.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's start with the first question. Tengo que decir también que nos van a ayudar a contestar algunas preguntas en español para llegar a más personas y es algo que agradecemos mucho. Why did you apply for the traveling fellowship? Who wants to start?
I applied for the traveling fellowship based on previous conversations I've had with other fellows, and I've heard it was an experience of a lifetime, and certainly my expectations have been met with regards to camaraderie and exposure to diverse operative situations and ways of thinking about treatment of scoliosis.
Thank you.
My interest in the traveling fellowship began first from watching other traveling fellows give their presentation. But last year I participated in the communications task force and became more aware of not only the desire to help the SRS grow more deeply, but the need to actively maintain the global presence and interconnections that we have. And this seemed like a great opportunity to help that, to be an ambassador for our society.
Thank you.
Yo creo que todas las personas en esta sociedad están buscando para una oportunidad para mejorar los tratamientos, la manera que estamos cuidando por los pacientes, la research que estamos haciendo, y estaba pensando que era una oportunidad para aumentarlo.
Excelente, muy bien. And the second question is, what were your expectations of the opportunity, and did those expectations line up with your experience?
I think Lindsay and I agreed this morning that the expectation was lots of food and very little sleep, and it has definitely met that expectation. But I also think we expected to see new and different types of surgeries, to be exposed to technologies we're currently either unable to use or unfamiliar with, and to make new friends all over the world. And those expectations were certainly met.
Okay. And you, Peter?
I'm still Spanish.
Mis expectaciones eran muy alto y la experiencia era mejor que eso. De verdad era increíble. Es un viaje de mi vida. Yo creo que hay una expresión que usamos en inglés que decimos que está viviendo de un poco de incendio. Y era un poco como así, pero era algo muy especial. Y con cada lugar podemos ver que las personas ahí estaban preparando por nuestra visita por mucho tiempo. Y era muy especial porque cada día era un horario con mucha atención para demostrar las cosas que están haciendo en el laboratorio, en el quirófano y también la manera de la ciudad. Podemos ver otra perspectiva y estoy muy feliz que tuve esta oportunidad para hacer amistades que va a estar muy fuerte por siempre.
Muchas gracias por tu esfuerzo de explicarlo en español. Sé que esto va a ser de mucho beneficio para que mucha gente más de habla hispana se acerque a SRS y pueda ser parte de esto tan bonito que se forma aquí.
Gracias por la oportunidad.
My expectations, again, were very high for the fellowship, and certainly they've been met. I think the most particular expectation I had was the opportunity to really spend a lot of time with the surgeons that we knew, and we communicated with, including conversations at meetings where you have talks, or when they visit your institution for a grand rounds or case conference. It's often a busy day. This is a more in-depth opportunity to get to know individual surgeons and their teams, and how they approach certain difficult problems. We also had the opportunity to witness actual cases and participate in them and see how they're performed and their varying systems. And I think the most important part of my expectation was it wasn't a purely academic experience. It was also a social experience. And the bonds we created were not just ones that will continue academically for life, but individually, I think we'll continue to grow based on the experiences we endured together.
I'd like to comment on, I had the opportunity to pick the sites, and all of the sites I knew people at, and they're my friends and professional colleagues, but they also all had fairly significant research programs, and that what I didn't fully appreciate is that it's an honor for people to be selected to be traveling fellows, but it was also a significant honor for each of the sites to be selected, to be visited. And I didn't initially appreciate how much they felt that it was an honor and a calling to be selected as a site. And we went to different places, and I expected certain things, but what occurred at every site that was very special were the case discussions, and that they genuinely sought our opinion on a number of cases, and that the dialogue raised everybody's bar in terms of understanding and perspectives on what might be done and what might be doable and what might be the next frontier that we're going to have the opportunity to improve care for all patients with spinal deformity throughout the world.
Thank you so much. And then the last question really is three questions in one. What was the highlight of the experience? What was your biggest takeaway? And what would you recommend the traveling fellow to others?
I can start. I think it's a very difficult question. I agree with the preamble for that question. So I think the way I look at it, there are differing experiences for different aspects. There were social experiences and cultural experiences that were astounding, ranging from eating at the opera here in Barcelona, to multiple other really cultural experiences that are very important to the centers that we visited, and also the cities in which they practice. But certainly educationally, there are very high points of our experience as well. I would echo Dr. Pauli's comment on the case discussions. I think there were very excellent lectures that were given and rendered throughout the experience, but the case presentations really gave us an opening to speak opinion-based, based on previous experience as well as evidence, and to run ideas off of each other collaboratively. And so I think the case experiences and the cultural experiences were the two highest points of the trip for me.
Thank you so much.
I think certainly the connections, again, are probably one of the highlights of the fellowship. But it's not just meeting other people. As Peter said earlier, these are deeper connections that you gain by really spending time with people in their own environment. And that's crucial to what makes this successful. I think you get a deeper understanding of what their thought processes are. And one of the beautiful things about this fellowship is that we have been given the gift of time. So we're not competing with our clinical interests. We're not trying to take care of things at home, although we did a little. But we get the space and the time to really delve into this, to dedicate our efforts and focus our attention on these experiences, the connections, and then we all love the SRS. It's so clear from every site we visited that not only do we love it, but the people we visited love the SRS, and we're able to share this experience and keep growing, again, the future of the society. Not just where we are now, but where we're headed. This was 100% the experience of a lifetime. There's no trip that could ever be like this again. I wish everybody could have the opportunity to do it, so I would definitely recommend it to anyone.
Thank you.
Era una oportunidad increíble. Y, a veces estoy hablando con personas que dicen, oh, pero es muy difícil salir de mi trabajo, de mi familia. Y sí, hay un poco verdad en eso, pero vale la pena. Es un mes que voy a recordar por siempre. Y como estaba diciendo, era una experiencia mucho más grande que estaba expectando y mis expectaciones eran altas. Yo creo que la cosa que era la sorpresa más grande para mí es que estaba expectando una experiencia que voy a aprender muchas cosas técnicas. Y era este tipo de oportunidad cuando estábamos en el quirófano. Y por ejemplo, el resorte nuevo que está usando en Netherlands es muy especial y no podemos encontrarlo en los Estados Unidos ahora. Pero eso era solamente parte de la experiencia. Y yo creo que la cosa que aprendimos que era posiblemente más fuerte es que tenemos la misma meta y estamos buscando por maneras para tratar las mismas cosas mejor. Y encontramos muchos desafíos que son similares, pero también que son diferentes. Y ahora voy a tener mucho más perspectiva de eso. Y como mis amigos estaban diciendo, las conexiones con las personas era la cosa lo más especial. Va a durar por siempre, estoy segura.
Sí, he encontrado que grandes cirujanos alrededor del mundo tienen mucha humildad. ¿Así lo notas?
Sí, y es exactamente, y podemos ver que es una sociedad muy especial. El SRS es la única organización que siempre tiene un sentimiento de una familia. Y en cada lugar era un abrazo grande, un poco académico, pero de muchos perspectivas. Y hemos escuchado ayer, Dr. Glassman estaba diciendo que ahora es el madrino por una otra persona que conoce de esta sociedad. So, no creo que tenemos un madrino, pero eso era la cosa que voy a recordar por siempre.
Okay.
Amigos por siempre.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Can I add one thing?
okay.
The other part of the trip is that the four of us probably generated between 5 and 7 different research ideas that we want to share with each other.
Per day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I have to tell you that the 3 of them cannot walk by a Starbucks without getting iced coffee.
Es la verdad.
Okay. Bueno, thank you so much for sharing with us. And, es muy agradable tener la oportunidad de compartir con el habla hispana y gracias por la oportunidad de tener la paciencia para invitarme como moderador el día de hoy. Thank you so much for all your attention and your time.
Gracias.
Sí.